It's a trip because you be talking about looking out for somebody else. You be talking about watching out for somebody else back. What are you doing for yourself? Are you looking out for you? How is it that you're convinced that you're extending love to them and you don't even extend love to yourself? You're delusional. And I don't say that as an insult. I say it to bring awareness to the fact that you are entertaining things that are not true as though they were reality and operating in accordance with the belief that they really are true. Delusional. You believe that the illusions that you entertain are true, they're genuine, they exist in reality, and they need to be dealt with. They deserve your attention. They can't be ignored or overlooked because they're way too important to go unaddressed. If an illusion is nothing, but in my world, an illusion is something that cannot go unaddressed because it has dire importance or consequences for me, I'm delusional. If I clearly can look at your actions and see directly by experience that you do not have my best interests at heart, that you are not genuinely for me, that you do not love me, that you do not uphold me and view me in a way that is in accordance with my true design, that you do not want more for me than I want for myself or equally thereof, and I look at you and listen to you when you say you love me and you shower me with a couple gifts, because I would like for this to be true and I would like for you to genuinely care about me, I can overlook the fact that reality shows that you don't even care for yourself, let alone anybody else. But that would make me delusional. And not only does the people around you suffer from your delusions because you try to impose them and the consequences of your delusions onto other people around you, not only do they suffer, but nobody suffers more than you. Nobody suffers more than me when we operate from a place of delusion. When I get it in my head that something has dire consequences for me, if I do not address it, it actually becomes the master of my life. I can't think about anything else. I find myself giving myself in smaller fractions to the people around me that I say I love and that I live for. I find myself distracted. I find myself to the point that I can't think clearly on my daily activities, that I say my purpose and my desires are all dependent and predicated on. This thing consumes me. I become swallowed. And it's totally, totally unnecessary. Totally not the design. Totally not the way it was supposed to be. It's just what we've settled for based on what we know. It's the way that was promoted. It's the way that's most familiar. It's the way that seems right because it's the way that most people are doing it. Understand, we all say a lot of things out of our mouth. Really cool cliches that we say, I don't care what nobody think about me. The fact that you're announcing that you don't care what anybody thinks probably is the beginning of an inner knowledge that even in that very moment that you're making that announcement, the tone that you're making the announcement in, your facial expressions, your delivery of the statement, I don't care what nobody think about me, you're thinking about the way that's being perceived and interpreted to the people that you're saying it to, which should, if you have the eye to see, let you know, just like the people in front of you can see, that you do care about what people think about you. Sometimes that's all you can think about because you care about it so much. When somebody says something about you that's not true in a crowd of people, you're not upset because the statement was said. You're upset that it fell on ears of people that you wanted to see you a certain way. And that information tarnishes that vision. And it messes up your it messes up your presentation. It messes up your narrative of who you are. And We really don't take that lightly, because we do live inside of a perpetual fear of being rejected. We do live inside of a desperate need to not even just be wanted, to not even just be accepted, but to be made believe that we're needed. An insecure person needs to be needed in order to feel loved. It doesn't matter how much you love an insecure person, they're not satisfied until they're under the belief that you believe that you need them. Because the actions that they do, that they carry out, the things that they carry guilt and shame for, that they can't see past, keeps them in a state where they feel unworthy of the love and affection of someone that they continually hurt. So when they're told, I love you, it's not something that they can receive, because it's not something that they can relate to. It's not something that they know how to identify with. It's not something that they have any experience with. What they do know is supply and demand. What they do know is need and facilitation. What they do know is conquer and control. So if I can get you in a state where I have something that you need, and there's a certain way I would like for you to treat me and deal with me, talk to me, then we can make an exchange. I give you what I have that you think that you need, that's in my possession, and you can give me control over your world, inner and outer world, social and psychological world. I'll become your Listen, you really have to know who you are. You really have to know your capabilities. You really have to know where you come from. You really have to know why you're here. You really have to know where you're going. You really have to know what time is. You really have to know that there is no expiration time. There is no end. You really have to know these things. You really have to lock in these fundamental identification markers. You really have to lay this foundation. You really have to lay this foundation. You really have to lay this foundation. Without this foundation, you have absolutely nothing to stand on besides the opinions of others, which is really flaky, because half the time the people that you need to accept and approve of you don't accept and approve of themselves. So how is it that I'm needing you to extend something to me that you're depending on somebody in your life to extend to you, because you have looked inside of your well and in a delusional state found yourself insufficient on your own, just like I did in my delusional state. So we partner together in delusion, and I say I have a resolve for you. You say you have a resolve for me, and we make an exchange and we call it love, but it's not love at all. Love is free. Love is a free exchange. Anytime there is a demand placed on what it is that you are calling love, it's not love anymore. I'm not saying that I know what it is that we need to call, what it is that you are offering. But what I'm saying is love has one definition. It has one presentation. It has many different appearances, but it has one definition. Love is not preoccupied with its return. Love is not preoccupied with being reciprocated. Love is not preoccupied with being rewarded. If what it is that you are offering leads you to a state of dissatisfaction because you do not see the appreciation that you are demanding, whether silently or verbally, from the other person, it's not love that it is that you are offering. It is supply and demand. And just like the workforce, just like any other team that you operate on, if you don't hit your quotas, if you don't meet your markers, if you don't find yourself being checked off satisfactory, you just might be replaced.